So let's start with the Jupyter. Now Jupyter is one of the most versatile IDE. IDE means Interactive Development Environment, and we extensively use it for developing our AI and ML applications. So let's see details about it. So Jupyter is a free open source interactive web tool known as a computational notebook, which researchers can use to combine software code, computational output, explanatory text, and multimedia resources in a single document. The Jupyter Notebook is an open source web application that allows you to create and share documents that contain live code, equations, visualizations, and narrative text. Users include data cleaning, transformation, numerical simulation, statistical modeling, data visualization, machine learning, and much more. Jupyter Notebook or notebook documents denote documents that contain both code and rich text elements, such as figures, links, equations. Because of the mix of code and text elements, these documents are the ideal place to bring together an analysis description and its results, as well as they can be executed to perform the data analysis in real time. So Jupyter Notebook app produces these kinds of documents. Now Jupyter is a loose acronym because Jupyter is a combination of various. It was developed over different stages, and it meant originally Julia, Python, and R. These programming languages are the first target languages of the Jupyter. So they combined the three, that is Jupyter, Python, and R, and gave the name as Jupyter application. But the notebook technology supports many other languages also. Now, as a server client application, the Jupyter Notebook app allows you to edit and run your notebook in a web browser. The application can be executed on a PC without internet also, or it can be installed on a remote server. But it is better to use it on the internet connected PC or laptop, where you can access it through the internet. Its two main components are the kernels and the dashboard. A kernel is a program that runs the introspects the user's code. The Jupyter Notebook app has a kernel for Python code, but there are also kernels available for other programming languages. The dashboard of the application not only shows you the notebook documents that you have made and can reopen, but can also be used to manage the kernels. The history of IPython or Jupyter Notebook. To fully understand and what the Jupyter Notebook is and what functionality it has to offer, you need to know the origin of the Jupyter. Let's go back briefly to the late 1980s. Guido van Rossum begins to work on Python at the National Research Institute for Mathematics and Computer Science in Netherlands. Let's go late 2001, 20 years later, Fernando Perez started developing IPython. In 2005, both Robert Kern and Fernando Perez attempted building a notebook system. Unfortunately, the prototype that never became fully usable. Fast forward 2 years later, the IPython team had kept up on working, and 2007 they formulated another attempt and implementing a notebook type system. By October 2010, there was a prototype of a web notebook, and in summer 2011, this prototype was incorporated and it was released with 0.12 on December 21st, 2011. In subsequent years, the team got awards such as the Advancement of Free Software for Fernando Perez on 23rd of March 2013 and the Jolt Productivity Award and funding from the Alfred P. Sloan Foundations, among others. Lastly, in 2014, Project Jupyter started as a spin-off project from IPython. IPython is now the name of the Python backend, which is also known as the kernel. Recently, the next generation of a Jupyter notebook has been introduced to the community. It's called Jupyter Lab. After all this, you might wonder where this idea of notebooks originated or how it came about to the creators. Now, the concept of notebook, which contains ordinary text and calculation and or graphics, was definitely not new. Also, the developers had close contact with one another, and this together with other failed attempts had GUIs for IPython and the use of Ajax, which is web application, which didn't require us users to refresh the whole page every time you do something. Were two other motivations for the team of William Stein to start developing the Sage notebooks. How to install Jupyter Notebook is very simple. Running Jupyter Notebook with the Anaconda Python distribution. One of the requirement here is Python, either Python 3.x or Python 2.x. The general recommendation is that you use the Anaconda distribution to install Python, and it is better to use Python 3.x because Python 2.x is going to be obsolete in course of time. The advantage of Anaconda is that you have access to over 720 packages that can easily be installed with Anaconda's Conda, a package dependency and an environment manager. You can follow the instructions of the installations of Anaconda and here for Mac or Windows. Running Jupyter Notebook the Pythonic way. Pip can also be used. If you don't want to install Anaconda with Anaconda, you just have to make sure that you have the latest version of the pip. If you have installed Python, you will typically already have it. What do you need to do is upgrading pip, and this can be done with the help of this code which is in front of your screen. Once you have pip, you can just run Python 2, that is comment, then pip install Jupyter, or pip 3 install Jupyter. How to use Jupyter Notebook? Now that you have you know what you will be working with and you have installed it, it's time to get started for real Jupyter. Getting started with Jupyter is very simple. You can simply write Jupyter space notebook all in small characters, and when you enter, it will start working. After some time, you will see that it comes in the browser. So then you will see the application opening up in your web browser on the following address. The address is http localhost:/8888. This all is demonstrated as you can see in the bottom. Now the files tab is where all your files are kept, and the running tab keeps track of all your processes, and the third tab, clusters, is provided by IPython Parallel computing framework. It allows you to control many individual engines which are an extended version of the IPython kernel. So you probably want to start by making a new notebook, because whenever you want to start with a new program, definitely you would like to go to a new page. So you can go for the new page. You can easily do this by clicking on the new button on the files tab. You see that you have the option to make a regular text file, a folder, and a terminal. Lastly, you will also see the option to make a Python 3 notebook. Then note that this option will depend on the version of Python that you have installed. Also, if the application shows Python Conda root and Python default as kernel names instead of Python 3. So whatever method that you have adopted or you want to adopt, you can go for that. And that is how you can start with your Jupyter and you can start writing your programs. So this completes your first part of the Jupyter. So we'll go over to the next part. Thank you.